So this is Tamika Chambers, and I'm going to answer a question that I believe that not only did I have it, but I believe other parents have this question too. And what is parental success? Parental success to me follows three major concepts. Those three major concepts deal with relationship, environment, and purpose. And so, as a mother of two beautiful spirits, I feel that it is important for our children to not only have a relationship with themselves as brother and sister, because you see a lot of brothers, sisters, family members that are not interacting with each other. They don't call and check on each other. If they call, it's about what they need, what they want, and not about how are you doing? What's going on in your life? What are some excitement things that have happened to you? What are some sad things that have happened to you? Those deeper conversations that I don't see a lot happening today, especially when I talk to others. One of the things my mother did with us, she said, if you can't get along with your family, then you can't get along with other people out there. One day we were fussing and she told us, no talking to your friends, no going over anybody's house, that you're going to stay here. You're going to get along with your brothers. And so one of the things that we have done, even during the coronavirus pandemic, is that we started Zoom meetings. Every Sunday we get on Zoom, especially if there was no other events going on. If there was Mother's Day or something else that was going on, somebody had a major event out of town, we didn't talk. But almost every weekend we talked, via Zoom. I typically will call my brothers once a week. They'll call me, every so often and check on me and see how I'm doing. And that is because my mother instilled that into us. And that's what I am trying to do with our children. That's what my husband and I are trying to do, is that your relationship starts at home first. Because how you treat your brother and your sister will typically be how you treat other brothers and sisters, other people out there in the community, how you treat your teachers. You see now there's students that are beating up their teachers and talking to their teachers in disrespectful ways. And so, again, relationship at home is so essential, so important. Relationship with me. How you've heard that how children typically treat their mother is how they treat other women out there. And so we've had our conversations with our children and, feeling like they can talk, a certain way. They hear other people talk that way at school or online. And it is up to me as a parent, up to my husband to say, hey, wait a minute. Where did you get that from? That is not tolerated. And instead of being angry at what they bring to me, I feel grateful because I have an opportunity, as my mother would say, to nip things in the bud. When you nip things in the bud, you have a lesser chance of that going outside of this home into the community and into someone else's home. So nipping things in the bud. Relationship, foremost too, is to the spirit that created us, to nature, if you say God, whatever higher power, infinite spirit, infinite intelligence, there is something that it created us, and I want our children to have that relationship with the source. For us, what I grew up with was God. What I grew up with in reading after a potentially traumatic experience as a child is the Bible. And so my children and I have breakfast and devotion. And one of the things that my mother and I tell my children is that these are my beliefs. I want you to have your personal relationship with who created you. I want you to search for the truth inside of you. So we have started them on the Bible and devotion. And I've put questions, thrown questions at them. Ask, who are you? What am I here for? which I'll get into in a minute. So relationship is so important. The other thing is environment. When I think about environment, I think about internal and I think about external, right? And so externally, trying to place them in an environment that continually builds them up instead of tearing them down. And so for our children, they were having, I sensed that they were having some issues with their brick and mortar school, feeling as though I was not involved in their education and I wanted to be there involved. I wanted to reinforce what the teachers were talking about, and I didn't feel that. And then every day I saw them resistant on their face, my girl staying in bed, fighting with her to get her to school, and experiencing bullying type behavior. And so we put them in an online education, and it's not about shielding. It's not about just really shielding our children, preventing them from experiencing stuff, but it's how can I put them in the best environment so that they are built up, right? Because as children, we need to help build their foundation with strong principles, moral principles, so they can weather the storms of life. And that's where we get to the internal environment, is that I look at the principles that I learned after my potentially traumatic experience as a child, learned of not having a father in the household, hearing my mother's words of wisdom, give from the heart, nip things in the bud. As long as people have teeth, they will talk. Just a bunch of treasures that I gather from my mother and day-to-day life that I am helping to instill in our children, pointing them hopefully to the truth, to seek the truth. Just because someone else does it doesn't mean you have to. When you think about peer pressure, those are some things that saved me from a lot of the pitfalls, not only just as a person, but someone who experienced the projection of pain from other people. And so it is so important for them to be built from the inside out, that I believe the truth is within them. And it's up to parents to really hone in and bring out that truth, to let it be their outer garment, if you will, to help, protect them from just attacked words and people out there that are projecting their pain on them, that don't know healthy ways of really dealing with their unhealed wounds. And so that to me is so important, because when they have the relationship with the truth, when they have the internal and external environment to support them in growing in truth, because I believe that's what Jesus showed us. He showed us in his story, the growing of truth, right? Of learning, having this relationship with the source, with the Father, that whatever I do, whatever I see and hear of my Father, and I want our children to do what they see and hear of the truth, to embody truth, to express truth, to love it, to listen, to learn, to be in sync with it, as I do with myself. That's what I wanted as a child. I wanted to see the truth. And so when we have that, then we know what our purpose is. And I believe that's where a lot of the misuse and abuse comes from. And it is Dr. Miles Monroe who said that where purpose is unknown, and abuse is inevitable. And I may have paraphrased that just a little bit or use some words. But when we don't know what something is for, and I mean more than just know intellectually and with our eyes, but when we know from our heart, when we see from our heart what something is meant for, we are less likely to abuse it, to take it for granted, if you will. That, with a broom, we sweep the floor. That is what it's meant to do, right? That everything in life has a purpose. And when we know that purpose, we're more likely to use it for that purpose, to help our children realize, to nourish, to embody, right? To embody, to own their gifts and their talents that they have. And with their experiences, to intertwine the gifts talents, and experiences to live out their purpose, to be their purpose, and to express their purpose. That is the role to me of a parent, of a spiritual guardian. Yes, we feed our children. Yes, we make sure they get the education. Yes, we want them to live a good life, to have abundance, to serve others. But they cannot really effectively and efficiently do that if they don't know who they are, if they don't take care of their internal and external environment, if they don't manage it, and if they don't know what their gifts are, their talents. And so when we talk about child abuse prevention month, April being the month, that I believe we need to stress the importance that children have, just like adults, a divine purposes in life. They have gifts, they have talents. They are here for reasons. And I believe as a child, we are so connected to the truth, to the source. And somehow when we experience the projection of pain, sometimes we tend to get away from that source because we feel that that source should have protected us from it. But know that everyone has free will, that God loves everyone, even the ones that do harm to us, that project their pain onto us. And so projection of pain happens. It is our responsibility as part of our purpose to put it in such a way that we have compassion, that we have internal peace, that we see the heart for what it is. God looks at our heart. We should see at the hearts and know their pain is about them. It's not about us. It's typically not about us. And the compassion goes out because you want them to recognize their pain and to heal from their pain. And yes, we want to stop abuse, but I believe we stop it by realizing that children have a divine purpose. All human life have divine purposes. And when we realize that, when we know that, we will cease to use things, to misuse things, and to build up and to edify, and to have people instead to live out their purpose, to cheer them on, to give them the resources, to look within us and say, what do I need to heal from to become more of a conscious parent? What do I need to heal from? Because I want to make sure you have the life that God created you to have. And if you don't believe in God, there's something that created us. I'm not trying to change your beliefs, but to look, there is something out there that we don't quite understand. Something that gives us breath, that allows our lungs to open and to allow our heart to beat and everything in our body to sink within itself, to give us life, to give us breath. And so I don't think that we are here to be misused, to be abused. We are here to show our truth, to be a physical, a mental, a spiritual representation of truth. So I thank you so much for watching this video. You can find out more about who I am at tamikaschambers.com. And I would encourage you to become part of a community bent on helping others and ourselves to fulfill our divine purpose, to achieve and sustain an optimal level of health. That our vehicle is the body. Our body is the vehicle for our truths. That we are here for divine purposes. As always, make this lifetime great because you still can.